Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about your Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition game, your campaign that you're currently running, the danger your players present to your campaign, okay? How to manage that, and what you need to be careful of. And these lessons are going to come from True Detective Season 2, Detective Ray Velcoro, the character. Let's get into it. All right. So, True Detective, I've been watching this thing so far. I've watched Season 1 and Season 2. And I'm talking about Season 2 right now because Colin Farrell plays a detective in there. A dirty cop. A detective on the take, right? And he is serving this gangster that Vince Vaughn plays. And I loved True Detective. It was brilliant show. Really liked it a lot. And I think there's a really good Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition lesson for every Dungeon Master in here. And I want to give it to you. All right. So let's talk about Ray Velcoro. Ray Velcoro is the dirty detective that in Los Angeles that is being played by Colin Farrell. Okay. He's on the take, right? And he has rage issues. He is a very angry person, a very violent person. He's wrathful, right? And vengeful, right? And but he also is self-aware. Really, that boy, is that a good, fascinating, mixture, right? He's aware of his problems, and he doesn't want to be this way. And he has one thing in his life that he cares about, and that's his son. He has a 13-year-old son. He's divorced from the mother, and he just wants to be a good dad. This is the only thing he wants to get right. He kind of feels like, okay, every other part of my life has gone to crap. I'm a drunkard. I drink. I smoke. I abuse substances. I'm on the take on my job. I'm just a crap human being, right? So he does not have a high opinion of himself, right? And he's right. He's a terrible person. He really is a terrible person. He's not. There's actually another character, a female detective in there, who's like says to him at one point, "You're a good man." I'm like, "No, lady, you ain't seen what this dude's doing." Like, he beat a reporter down like a week before meeting this lady because to stop a story from going forward because a gangster paid him to do it. He is not a good man by any stretch of the imagination. Not like this dude is definitely on the evil spectrum. He is either, I would say he is neutral evil, right? He is not neutral, right? Like a dirty cop, come on. Like he is definitely in the evil spectrum, right? So here's the thing. What makes him really interesting in this show is he's trying to be a good dad. Well, one of the things is his son is overweight, right? So right out of the gate, every single thing this guy does to get with his son to really, be on the level of his son and be a good dad is spot on. First thing he does is he buys his son, he has money, so he's like, I'm going to buy my son the freshest kicks, right? And he uses the words kicks, right? He gets him some super dope LeBrons, like really nice shoes, and, gives them to his son as a gift. Great move, right? The other thing is his son is heavy set, right? He's not a sports guy, right? He don't care about sports. So, Ray Velcoro realizes, I don't want to sit around and play video games with my son. That ain't going to help anything, right? It's not going to help his son. So what he does is he says, hey, let's do this modeling. Let's do these models. So he buys models for his son, and his son enjoys it. It's an indoor activity. It's quiet. It's calm, right? His son kind of likes it, right? And they've built some of these things together, right? And so Ray Velcoro, he has been building these models with his son, right? And I think he actually got his son like a Gundam model, and then he started making his own models, which were like U.S. fighter jets and like old planes from different wars and stuff. And so he has this really zen-like hobby, and he builds literally like 24 of these beautiful, well-crafted models, right? And he takes these delicate, beautiful, like essentially statues that he's handcrafted, and he puts them out throughout his home, right? Well, this is all great, and he's doing a great job being a dad, but of course he's a dirty cop, right? And his life goes sideways. And so at one point he gets some terrible news, and also his wife tries to take custody of his kid, and he's like, none of this is working, and I'm not even being a good dad to my father anymore. My ex-wife doesn't even want me in the life of my son and is trying to remove me from life. He is low. He has never been lower, okay? And what he does is he goes and he gets a bottle of whiskey, he gets 2 packs of smokes, and he gets a bunch of illegal substances, right? He goes into his room, he sits all this stuff on the table, sits down at the table, and begins to tie one on. He just gets super, super intoxicated, inebriated, bent up from all these substances, right? And it is really, and it's sad to see, right? So he gets totally wrecked, internally and mentally. And you know what he does then? He takes the room he's in and he trashes every single thing in it. And all those beautiful sculptures, all those models that he hand built, he destroys every one of them. So what I want to teach you today is that your players can build beautiful things in your world. But if they get in the wrong position, they can tear everything down in minutes. They can do irreparable damage to your game super fast. Ray Velcoro, the detective, took no less than 24 hours to build 24. I think he built a dozen models in 24 collective hours, right? So, spread over weeks and months, right? So he took 24 hours of time to build these beautiful objects, and then he took 10 minutes to destroy everything he had done. And unfortunately, because destruction is so much easier than creation, this can happen in your game. So what does that mean? It means you need to watch your players. And you may have a player who's been great in your campaign for a while, but if they start throwing signals in 3 different games that they have turned and they are no longer have goodwill toward your game, toward you, or toward everyone at your table, you need to be ready to get them out of your game and remove them, period. Do not hesitate to protect what you have built from a player who has turned. It can happen. Be ready for it. Don't let it surprise you. Make the right choice when you need to. That's my opinion on how you should run your game. Am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think? What's your opinion on how quickly Ray Velcoro was able to destroy everything in his life, everything he had built in over hours and hours and hours, in moments? How do we address that as Dungeon Masters and protect what we've built? I'd love to hear your opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.